the world in the past was not as convenient. So there were a lot more things to do. Think about it. If today I need to learn about editing, right? Now what you do is just open the internet, you just go YouTube, you go and find ChatGPT will tell you the answer. There's a lot of things that can just tell you an answer immediately. But in the past, if I want to learn how to edit, I need to spend my whole day just go and look for a friend, take the bus, go and figure out something, check videos, check resources. That would have taken up my whole day just to look at that. Now, so if let's say it is not a real clinical depression, it distracts me from my pain, give me time to heal. And I'm focused on much more things. But today in this world, everything is so fast-paced. There's nothing much that can distract you already. Because we ourselves are suffering from attention span deficit right now.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and so we are also not used to entertaining our own thoughts. That's why you see during COVID, there were a lot of people who actually suffer depression. Why? Because in my opinion, a big part of it is that people are not used to being alone today. You must either swipe at worst, you have your phone, you swipe your phone, you have something that keeps your brain going. When's the last time you really sat there and nothing to do, stare in the blank sky and just stare? Right?
We're just figuring it out. Hello and welcome back to Figuring It Out. My name is Melody.
And I'm Mr. Money.
And I'm Eileen.
Okay, so recently we've actually received a lot of comments and DMs and also questions on Reddit. So I was thinking of compiling all the questions into one episode and doing another You Ask, We Answer episode. Because I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but that episode actually did pretty decently on FIO.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have questions about adulting and life in general, right?
Correct. Like me too. That's why I also want the answers to these questions. Okay, so without wasting any time, I'll actually get into the questions and Peter and Eileen will be answering them. He will be answering them from employer and employee's perspective. But we actually have an array of questions from career, investments, financial related loans, just a bunch, even credit card,
Right.
some random ones too.
You got no love questions yet?
Nowhere.
All mostly financial and career related.
I think for some reason, like Gen Z don't want to ask relationship related questions.
Really? Have you done an episode on relationship or not?
No.
That's why, no?
Okay, if you want to watch an episode on relationships, maybe you can comment down below and I'll try my best because I myself also don't have the answers for relationships. So maybe I would want to know too.
Maybe you're figuring it out in the episode itself.
I'll try my best. Okay, so I get started with the first one.
Okay.
Wow, starting off with a compliment. Another great segment. Thank you. Amazing guests as well. They're back. I have a question. Do you think older generations are more tahan lasak compared to newer generations? Back in those days, there isn't such a thing as burnouts or depression. Wow. It's either do or die kind of situation. I feel like now we are too spoiled or have too much choice and freedom.
That's a very good question, actually.
Okay. I think you can take this one first.
Yeah, since I'm the older one, right? I think every generation will say that the next generation is not so tahan lazak. Just like my parents' generation felt that our generation was less, tahan. And then we feel that the next generation is also less tahan.
Actually, what is tahan lasak?
Tahan as in you can't take stress, you can't take things, right? Yeah, so tahan lazak means you can really, really take pain. Right, you can really, really grind, right? My personal thought of this is that I observe a few things here. First, let's just talk about the perspective on pain. I think as generation become younger and younger, people are actually more woke, right? For example, people today are much more aware about their pain. Are you depressed? Are you having anxiety? And so on. Last time, if you have anxiety, it's just, hey, don't panic lah. Today, it's like, oh, you're having anxiety attack. And it's not just psychological, it's also biological. Now, so complemented with a very, some science-based approach and also a total rebellion side of the past. What do I mean by that? Is that in the past, people just ignore any form of mental health issues.
Why?
During our parents' generation, if you're having anxiety, don't so kanchong. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like chill lah. That's all lah. Well, what's there to talk about, right? Oh, you're feeling too sad, very, very stressed. Don't be so sad lah. And that became very too much this side that you totally deny feelings. And as we come to the younger generation, there's a totally going against it. Now, go good, go bad. It becomes more self-aware. But I may get cancelled saying this. Sometimes it also develops into another level of self-pity. What do I mean by that? For example, I'm a psychology, part of my degree is psychology. My sister is a mental health expert in doctorate. Yeah. So one of the things that she always tell me is that depression is a word that is very wrongly used. Like a lot of people tell you that, actually I just found out that actually I was depressed. And you have been meeting this guy every week for the past, say, 10 years, or either very regularly every month, and this person tell you that I'm actually depressed. But not quite so, because depression actually, you likely will not come out and meet your friends. So proper clinical depression is you are really, really depressed, which means you really can't get out of bed, which means for the next 6 months, if you see a car, when you say suicidal tendency, they really want to walk in front of a car and just die. Yeah. So sometimes we use very big words to describe us feeling very sad. And because you use such words to describe it, then you kind of put yourself in there. I mean, think about it this way. If today, this morning, you wake up, you keep telling yourself, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. You just won't feel good for the rest of the day. But
That's true.
yeah. So, and imagine because you don't understand the word depression, so you start using the word depression, but the word itself, depressed, basically means extreme sadness until you cannot do anything. You will just slowly conform to it, right? Because you already say you are, but you better play that role. Am I right? Yeah. So I would say that this wokeness is good. It made people seek for help, but it also lead to the other side where a lot of younger people today use words like anxiety, depression, or anything so loosely that it helps them to justify certain reasons for not doing.
Oh.
Yeah. No. So that is when I look at it, right? Again, I could be wrong, right? However, for the older generation, I think generally there is less thoughts about it. It's not that you deny and there's less thoughts about it. It's just not educated, right? You won't know that this is purple until someone told you this is called purple, right? You won't know this is green. For you, it's just color. Until someone tell you this is green, right? Yeah, they're like, oh, okay, green, like that, right? Even though it's just color. So I think in the past, when you look at the earlier days, and even when I was growing up, when you see someone depressed, when you see someone sad, we just like, hello, you're very sad, no? So if you're very sad, number one, the word that we use is a word that we feel we are in control. Which is, you think about it, when I say you're depressed, depression actually means it's not controlled, no, it's clinical. It's also partially hormonal that made it to be that way, right? And it's depressed. It's another level of sadness, right? But if I just say, hey, you're very sad, it feels lighter, right? That's number one.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel as bad. Now, and number one, when it doesn't feel as bad, so if you are really not as bad, it puts you in that perspective that it's not as bad. And then the next thing that we do is just get over it. Now, when we say just get over it, if you think about in the past, my personal thought, the world in the past was not as convenient. So there were a lot more things to do. What do I mean by that, right? Think about it. If today I need to learn about editing, right? Now what you do is just open the internet, you just go YouTube, you go and find ChatGPT will tell you the answer. There's a lot of things that can just tell you an answer immediately. But in the past, if I want to learn how to edit, I need to spend my whole day just go and look for a friend, take the bus, go and figure out something, check videos, check resources. That would have taken up my whole day just to look at that. Now, so if let's say it is not a real clinical depression, it distracts me from my pain, give me time to heal. And I'm focused on much more things. But today in this world, everything is so fast-paced. There's nothing much that can distract you already. Because we ourselves are suffering from attention span deficit right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and so we are also not used to entertaining our own thoughts. That's why you see during COVID, there were a lot of people who actually suffer depression. Why? Because in my opinion, a big part of it is that people are not used to being alone today. You must either swipe at worst, you have your phone, you swipe your phone, you have something that keeps your brain going. When's the last time you really sat there and nothing to do, stare in the blank sky and just stare, right?
Could that be the reason why previous generation is more tahan lasak than the current generation?
Yeah, I think in the past, there were more space for us to process emotions and process thoughts. I think today with social media and with devices, people are not used to processing thoughts. Yeah. And so the moment that those thoughts and those emotions hit you, it is usually very big and you're not used to handling even the smallest of it. And now you're being you're being handed down the bigger emotions. So I think in the past, my opinion is people are more tahan lasak because of that. Like, for example, if someone scold me, I will process it already. But today, if someone scold me, let's not think about it. That's swipe my phone.
Oh,
I don't even process it, so it accumulates, But if let's say, if I don't have a phone with me, now I need to take RT, right? I got nothing to do, The only thing is, just now Melody scold me in the office. Why she scold me? Actually, maybe she scold me because of this. Then you're forced to think already. Yeah, actually, anyone who's been through those days without 3G in your phone, you probably experienced that, Yeah,
really? Like, is it?
yeah.
That actually makes a lot of sense because like what you say lah, whenever I have to process emotions, instead of actually processing the emotions, I distract my emotions. But
Yeah.
is that good or bad to this kind of situation? Because I know a lot of older generation people are like, oh, this person cannot tahan lasa, this person cannot eat, cannot handle stress, they are not meant to work, you cannot do this, do that. Then what, are you going to be pampered for the rest of your life? Do we have to follow their way? Because I know a lot of older generations that talk about Gen Z like this. But I believe not all Gen Z is like that. Some of us probably know how to form more boundaries. But some of us are probably like what they say lah, less tahan lasak.
I mean, every generation will have their chance to kutuk the next lah. One day Gen Z will say the Gen Alpha is tahan lasak.
Hey, this is me or my siblings.
But maybe like Eileen, right? Like after what I've said, like what have you observed? Because that's during my generation, which is me and her are about 20 years apart, right?
I'm in between you guys.
Yeah, you're in between, right? And so what do you observe?
My parents is one generation before you.
That's right.
So I think throughout my childhood time, I'm very close with a lot of auntie uncle. I always hang out with a lot of auntie uncles because why I like to play games that only auntie uncles would play, right? So then
Mahjong.
yes, my mahjong, man, my mahjong kakis, yeah. So with that being said, right, I feel like yes, in some ways I would say the older generation is a bit more tahan lasak. Only reason why is because how I see them work last time and how people are working now, right? Things have changed tremendously, right? People are just there like saving every penny they have so that their kids can have a better life, and that will keep going on for generations. Because why generational wealth, right? They want to build, and that's why they always say like, I'm going to work super hard. I'm going to have like 5 jobs throughout the day if possible, and then I try to save as much money as I can. But it's okay. My children can live like a king. I can live like a normal person enough already. As long as my kid can eat caviar, I'm okay. I just eat the normal food can already. That kind of feeling, right? And I think as we keep growing up, and that's where we start to realize that our parents have actually sacrificed like a lot for us. And then yes, they are more tahan lasak in terms of like feelings and everything, because like once we tell them like, oh, a bit burnout from my work, and then they're like, burnout? That means you tired, is it? Tired? Then go and sleep . But actually, right, burnout is more than just tired. It's not just about like sleep and gao tim, that kind of feeling. But to them, it's like that because how they survived through burnout last time is like, oh, tired, sleep ready, wake up,
That's right.
restart everything from scratch again, right? They really can like segregate their emotions like upfront. And then I'm like, wow, burnout takes me forever to recover, but you sleep, gao tim, wake up fresh again, that kind of feeling. Yeah. And that's why they say like they are a bit more tahan lasak, which I kind of agree with that. Yeah, so I'm trying to be as tahan lasak as I can. But at the same time, I'm aware of my emotions. And then with all the social media going around, like what Peter has mentioned, right? We know, okay, what's anxiety, what's this, what's that. It's like nowadays people like, oh, headache means you have to put a bit more less screen time, maybe get some more rest and everything. Maybe it's your glasses wrong prescription or what, right? And then the older generation will just be like, just drink water lah. That kind of thing, yeah. And then they're like, I don't even need Panadol, because why? They can just go through the day without Panadol, and then they're like, fine. But to us, it's like, oh, a little bit of headache. I need like Panadol, I need water, I need to like sleep and everything, right? But actually, it's like that only.
Could it be because their drive was very strong? They had a very strong purpose. Like, okay, my goal is to earn XXX amount of money to ensure my family has a great life. And because we are the family that receives that quote unquote great life from them, so we have been sort of pampered since young because they already provided that kind of lifestyle for us because that was their goal. But now that we have that, we don't really have that sort of drive for the great life that they imagine.
Yeah.
So we don't have that kind of purpose. So that's why we are more lost in a sense and less tahan lasak.
I guess in some ways, I kind of agree with that kind of thing also. But it really boils down to the individuals themselves as to whether like they want to make sure like, okay, I can, like for me, myself, like my parents have given me a great life, right? But for my goal is that I want to ensure that when I have children in the future, I want them to have more than what my parents actually gave me during my time.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like, I think if it keeps going on like that, right, I think it'd be more tahan lasak also lah. But then like, you know, some people, they try to take advantage of what they've been given with life, but do not to, take advantage of what was given to them, because like technically you have a head start in life already. So it's like, use that, right? Use that head start to get even higher, right? But some people, they are just happy where they're at. And then let's just say if they have to settle for something lesser, then they'll be a bit complaining already, right? Yeah, that kind of feeling, no.
I see.
Yeah.
It's like the book is called The Hidden Advantage or something like that.
Yeah.
Basically, everyone is born with a hidden advantage. It's how you utilize it. Some people like to label it as you're a Nepo baby, but based on what the book says is it's because you have this hidden advantage, you're able to go further in life. So instead of feeling guilty that you have the advantage, use it to your advantage.
That's right. Yeah. I think to answer that question as well, like what you mentioned earlier and what you say as well, I think it's quite true, because I've seen also Gen Zs or even Gen Alpha that are full of drive and they do very well, right? But usually that part of them that are very tahan lasak comes out when they know exactly what they want. So I would say that to a certain extent, I think it's the environment now. If you think about it, our parents' generation or the boomers' generation, right? The boomers' generation were always told that, hey, you come up from the Great War times, right? And now for the final time, you finally get to live peace. The world is your oyster. Now you can go out and work and make money. Then the next generation is the Gen X time where we see all this development, all these changes. It's time to make money, right? It's time to build family. And family values were still very strong up to then. Up to our parents' generation. If you think about it, a big part of what you're being taught is one day you're going to grow up, you're going to have a family, you're going to give the best to your family. And that was always what we were being educated at a younger days. So one thing interesting about me is that my parents are actually boomers, not Gen X. So my parents are like born in 1940s, 1930s. So my dad got me at 50s, right? So I have a sister that's a Gen X. So I get to have 3 generations of how it looks like actually. While many of my friends, their parents are actually Gen Xers in that sense, right? The early Gen Xers. Now, what I do see is that when it came to my generation onwards, we became a product of comfort. What do I mean by that? Our parents stopped telling us that one day you're going to get kids and everything. All that's less of a focus. It's more about you can live the best life that you can live. Right? Like, you can be whatever you want to be. You can, you can do whatever it is. So then what happened is that when my generation onwards and then the younger generation onwards, I realized, right, what we hear a lot from our parents is less of an expectation that is very clear cut that tells you, look, one day you're going to build big business or something like that. But it's rather, hey, Melody, you can be the best you can be and you can be whatever you want. Now, then the thing is this, right? I'm just a 12-year-old kid. I want to be a cow, man. Or I want to be a magician, right? You get what I mean? It's
yeah.
I
understand.
So there's no real like guide to it. And if you tell parents you want to be a cow, they're not going to guide you to be a cow. You want to say be a magician, they're also likely not going to guide you to be a magician. Somewhere deep down in their heart, they want you to be some sort of a lawyer, doctor or something like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And the point is this, right? So very often what I notice is the younger generation, when they want something, they are very often given the platform straight away. So there's a lack of need for you to fight towards something. Like during our parents' time, or even because I come from a poorer family, just to get the opportunity that we need, because we are not from that privileged place, you need to fight for that opportunity. So, for example, going into university was a fight for me. It's never granted that I'm going to get into university, right? But for many people, it's about, do I be a doctor? Do I be overseas or local, right? And I noticed that part of it itself, and it can come in all forms, right? Maybe you're very rich. It could be the question about, do I take over my family business or do I change the whole structure, right? Or do I start my own business? Yeah, it's still hidden privilege, but there is some sort of a need to say, I need to achieve something. And that has been somewhat drilled into you, or you yourself surrounded by friends that you create this expectation for yourself that you decided to be. And if you look at it within our office itself, if you notice many people who are very tahan lasak here, right? They are actually very ambitious, regardless of whether Gen Z or not.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, and that's what made them survive quite well here. It is less about the age, but rather are they ambitious and do they have something they want to achieve? Is it very clear to say that they want to be a lawyer, doctor, or some sort of position or rank? Sometimes less so, but rather there's this, I'm going to make something good out of myself. And that is what, in my opinion, pushes through burnouts. Because let's be honest, the world isn't going to be fair to you. Every day also I'm burnout one.
That's true.
Yeah. But if you're really something that you really want to achieve, that's when you're going to say, hey, maybe I can set aside this part first and let me just achieve that before I think about the burning out part. Yeah. Which do I sometimes have a long holiday? I sit at home, I cry. I do. You still need to process your emotions, right? Yeah. So I would say that if tahan lasak, the definition is just you take a lot of beating, I think that's not true. I think it's about managing emotions. Do you know when to deal with it in the right time, in the right place? Or are you the kind that can't control it and your emotions controls you? Yeah.
Understand. Actually, that is a very good response. And from what I get it, it's also importance of having clarity and being ambitious enough to be more goal-driven. I think also because for a lot of us, we are generally lost because of you can be whatever you want, you can do whatever you want. So because of that, we always don't know what's the best for us. And we'll always think like, what if there's something better out there? What if this is better? What if that's better? So we don't end up picking the choice that is meant for us. I mean, our parents would definitely be happy if, like, for example, I pursued law or medicine, but because I was given the choice from the very beginning to do what I want as long as I'm happy and it puts food on the table. So essentially, it kind of creates that environment where we're allowed to try whatever we want. And once you try something, you don't like it, you can just immediately leave. And that essentially creates the whole like narrative of why we're not tahan lasak. I would say part of the narrative. Because this happens with a lot of my friends as well. From what I noticed, they try something, they don't like, they just leave. They try something, they like, don't like, just leave. So we basically kind of engineer the way we think to ensure that, okay, if it doesn't suit me, I'm not happy, I should just leave. But for a lot of the older generations, they didn't really have a choice. It's like, this is what is going to make it out. And even if I'm not happy, I will still have to push through.
Yeah, man, once you get a baby, man, you understand that theory, man, you don't quit. Tomorrow, you still need to put food on the table. But having said that, I think people will be asking this question, right, usually. I can predict this next question.
What?
Number one, they will always say, I don't know what's my ambition. And number two is, so what should I aim for? It's similar range, right? So I got two advice for people like that, right? If your follow-up question is that, right? Number one is, in terms of what do you want to do in life, I think the truth is sometimes you figure it takes a very long time to figure out. I didn't wake up 25-year-old and then like, this is what I want to be in my life, right? Yeah. It's always a journey. So don't think a 10-year plan. Just think within next year, what do you want to be? Like, so maybe you may not want to be in a media company for the rest of your life, right? Or maybe you want to be. You do not know the answer, but what you know is that this year you're going to be here, and this year you've thought about it. You are playing the role of a host. Just master that skill and be a good host. Yeah, right? Then at least you learn mastery in that year. You give yourself a timeline. Now, number 2 is this one I taken from the book called Greed. Angela Duckworth, she's actually academician that actually wrote about this particular subject. She said this one thing, in a family, there's one rule. You don't quit when times are hard. You only quit when things are easy. So, for example, when her kids go through piano classes or whatnot, they say they want to quit because it's so difficult. She'll say, yes, we can talk about that later. After this, we will talk about quitting later. But today, we go on first. And when you feel better and you're in the right state of mind to talk about it, we talk about it. Because why? When things are hard, you will always want to quit.
It's driven by your emotion.
Yes, it's driven by emotion, right? Yeah, and I believe you've also seen quite some friends who are actually pretty good at certain things, but maybe it's just because they have, let's say, teammates that suck, right? And then they say, okay, I want to quit basketball, my teammates suck, right? Bro, that has nothing to do with your skill, man. Right? You get what I mean? So you can say, because it doesn't do well with my mental health. So her argument is that if you stay for another day, for most people, right? Unless you're clinically depressed, another story, right? So for most people, maybe you should go on for another day. Then when you feel great about it, then let's talk about quitting.
Because it's not driven by emotion anymore.
Correct. Yeah. And I kind of embody this philosophy even. Remember at one point I keep telling you all this? Even if my staff leave this company, I want you all to leave with your head held high.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Because when you leave, when you're good at what you do and you leave versus you just can't take the pressure you leave. It's two very different kind of living.
I think I watched a video of Auntie HR and she said the same thing, like exactly the same thing. She said, never quit the company when you're feeling stressed and like when you feel like, okay, I really cannot handle it here, but always quit when you're in a good position, because like what you said, it's not driven by emotion, but also it really helps for your next career search because you're not driven by hate anymore.
That's right. Yeah. And you build some sort of emotional resiliency out of it. Yeah.
Okay. I think we have quite a good array of answers for this question. I hope you got your answer from...
It's a short one, but very deep question.
Yes. Okay. Our next question is actually very long. So I'm going to read it because this is our only question from Reddit, which I'm very happy. Please comment more on Reddit. Okay. I check every day one. Yeah. Okay. So I'll start reading. I have a team lead who just got promoted last year. He was previously my senior and we worked closely together. There wasn't much control that time and I was grateful for his mentorship as I am a junior and really appreciated his guidance. But ever since he got promoted to team leader, there was too much of micromanaging, as in always asking in the group, whereby we have big bosses inside where he will ask, is this done? When clearly he can actually check that it's not. It felt like he is trying to shame his own team for not doing tasks. And whenever I ask him some things, how to do whereby I actually need his guidance, he'll just ask me use ChatGPT. This made me felt that he don't know shit and yet he is a team lead. Another thing was that he uses thanks after every single request or ask or sentence. It felt super structured and no sincerity. For example, I need this by today, thanks. Please schedule this for later, thanks. How do I deal with this kind of boss? Okay, I think Eileen, you can take. I think
you're more appropriate to answer this.
Yeah, because you're a team lead.
Okay, I think, right, for a person who has climbed from the bottom up, right, I can kind of resonate with why this guy or girl is the way he or she is. Because, right, let's just say like within a same company, right, let's just say I'm a senior exec, then suddenly I climb to a team lead. And then after that, my colleagues are actually now kind of like reporting to me in some sense, right? So those people who doesn't really segregate colleagues and friends would actually have issues with this one.
Oh.
Because the reason why is because they're like, wow, yesterday you so friendly. Then today after you get promotion already, wow, suddenly you become so stuck up already, right? That kind of feeling. Oh, then it's like, oh, because of promotion, then you like that to us already lah. You know, that kind of feeling. So it suddenly become like very emotion based. And then that with all these emotions, right, with whatever that person do, it just kind of feels like, oh, just because that person got a promotion, that's why he or she like that now lah. You know, that kind of feeling.
Oh.
But then actually from this person's perspective, right, it's like, this is my first time doing this kind of things. I don't know how should I like give instructions to people who used to be like same level as me, and I don't want to be like overstepped in some sense, because it's like, the document I give you another day lah, with friends, right? Because I'm too occupied with other stuff lah. You understand one lah, you know lah, last time you were in my role also ma, that kind of thing, right?
Yep.
How can you say no to that, right? And then it's like, if you don't say yes to that person also, then it kind of feels like, oh, suddenly become not friends already, suddenly become so angry, suddenly so strict already, right? Yeah, so that's the kind of thing that the other side also need to understand. So it's like a learning curve for both sides. One person trying to see their friend suddenly becoming a lead, and then for the other side, it's like how to control from a friend to become an, how do I say this, acquaintances, not really acquaintances, but someone who is like reporting to you, that kind lah. So I think from personal experiences, right, like Suki and I, we are actually like acquaintances, right? We are same level. But then we are also friends. I would say she's one of the few people who I actually consider colleagues as friends. I think everyone in this office knows that colleague means colleague, friends means friends to me, right? And she's the one that I consider both sides. And then with that being said, right, it is because that me and her, right, we can segregate what is work and what is friends. So let's just say both of us come to a meeting with Peter. I actually have a lot of meetings with Peter alongside with Suki also, right? I think you also can see that whenever she does something wrong, or whenever I do something wrong, she's not afraid to call me out. I'm not afraid to call her out. Yeah, because what we do is that work is work. There's
Correct.
no feelings one. But the moment we step out, there's no like, walao, Suki, why you going and call me out
Why
the
you do
other
that
day?
just now?
Yeah.
I feel hurt.
Correct. But it's more of like, oh, thanks for letting me know. Yeah, literally. Yeah, there's no hard feelings one.
So you need to know how to draw the boundary.
Draw the boundary, because it's not only just for that person's sake, but it's also for your own sake also, to learn how to respect the other person as well. Because that person is also trying to learn, right? And that person is also trying to treat you like a friend, but at the same time still setting up boundaries. Because like, if that person, let's just say like, if you keep telling the person, it's okay lah, this time you can just give me a pass, you know, that kind of thing. You don't take that person's kindness for granted, because one day that person will just explode already. And then there goes your friendship also lah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So let's say I'm in this situation, how should I approach my friend that just became a team lead? Like, I really do not like the way that you've been communicating with me, and I believe that the way that you lead the team could be better in this sense. Like, how can I tell them that without hurting their feelings also?
Yeah, perhaps like, have you ever experienced something like that before, where your friend got promoted and now suddenly your friend is your boss?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Because usually I'm the one that got promoted first. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, so then I realized, wait, actually, I don't think you've also been in that situation.
No. I've always been the boss.
That's why I was like, wait, I think my question here is irrelevant.
Mine will be more towards maybe like, we used to be all very close, but as the organization go bigger, then they're more distant from me. Yeah, but it's not so much of this question here.
I
Yeah,
see.
it wouldn't help the person.
But I think it's just more of like trying to be a bit more understanding and just give that person like constructive feedback. If that person is a real friend, they will absorb your feedback really well. But I think that part where he's like, just chat GPT it lah, I think that one's a bit much lah. I think that one's that person's fault. But you can just confront that person saying like, I don't think that's the right thing to say, but if you're not too sure on how to guide me, what you can do is just ask me to like maybe look at somewhere else for another guidance or something like that, instead of just saying like chat GPT lah.
Right.
But that person saying thanks to every single thing that person is requesting for, I think that person is just trying to be nice in some ways without sounding too authoritative.
Yeah, man. You know, I said no thanks. Then you say I rude.
Yeah.
I said thanks. You say I fake. What you want me to say?
I think it's better to say like thanks rather than TQ or like K. You know, K is the worst, I tell
Oh
you.
yeah, K is the worst. I really don't like K.
Yeah.
Don't K me. You can O-kiss me, but you don't K. O-K-I-E-S.
Usually he just okay, like okay. Yeah.
Well, that's if I reply.
You
True.
Or you can
So
put
also better.
OKK. Okay.
Yeah.
Mine depend on the keyboard typo that comes out.
Okay. But I think for me, right, in this situation, you have to understand work is work. Friend is friend.
Question, will you all go and like tell this person up front? Because what I usually see unfold I see from the top perspective generally, there's number of situations that I've seen like that happen among our team or other people's team. Generally, the teammates will bury in their heart, they just don't say, and then it will suddenly become a very big issue where eventually this person do whatever so wrong one.
Oh.
Yeah. Because it suddenly becomes, it's no more professional, it becomes personal. Everyone takes it very personally. Yeah, and this usually happens with younger teams, I have to say. Not like if let's say we are talking about like most people have the experience like Eileen or Suki, they're okay one. It's the more junior people, they will really take it very personally, like as if it's a personal attack that this person
But I think, right, what all these junior people can do is that talk to another manager of that same level of the team lead, and then maybe that person can talk to the team lead. So it's like having a proxy, that kind of thing. I think it's better the feedback comes from a same level kind of perspective if you're too scared to just go and just talk to the person.
Correct, because I think for my peers and I, majority of them plus me sometimes, we are less confrontational. So we don't really know how to relay that information without being like, hey, we're overstepping our boundaries. So what we will do is typically we'll go over to Suki and we'll tell Suki, we're like, hey, Suki, we've been noticing this issue. Next time you talk to them, maybe if you're comfortable with it, can you relay this information over to them instead? Saying, actually, I heard from the team. And then they'll bring it up. Then that's the time. Because our company practices honesty. So we are allowed to be honest. That also depends on your company. Like if you're not allowed to be honest, then it's probably a bit harder. But because we're allowed to do so, when we are being honest, they have to be receptive to the feedback. Yeah. This is what we noticed. Also because I think at a certain point, you also have to learn how to confront other people without being rude. Like try to confront as politely as possible where it doesn't seem like you're attacking them out of emotional reasons. Yeah, I had to learn this.
Yeah.
Not easy.
Basically, I don't spend too much time on company drama. Spend your time on upskilling yourself is more worth it. Yeah, it's just way more worth it.
Focus on your work and try to add more value to work.
Yep.
Yeah. And if it doesn't work, then only talk to them.
Yeah.
I got nothing much to say other than if you are in the perspective where you have a colleague who actually get promoted, I think the best way to start is actually just have an honest conversation.
Is that what you would do also?
Yeah. But then again, I don't treat colleagues like friends. So my transition is still not too bad one.
I see. Yeah, there's a saying that I saw online that says all the time, you have to understand work friends means work friends. Friends means friends. But then once your work friends, one of you leave that working environment, only then you can be friend. So you cannot take everything personally because they're not exactly your friends.
Correct. Yeah. I can still go like badminton and karaoke with you and everything, but doesn't mean like we are like
Best
close
buddies.
besties. Yeah. Like we can't share clothes yet, you know? Like yeah, you can't borrow my clothes yet. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so I think just don't take it too personally, but have an honest conversation with this person. That's what I get it. Yeah. Okay, so I'll move on to the next question. Yeah. Next question is actually a cut from one of our videos. And in this video, you actually said this: when you're so good at it, it may take you 2 hours to do this, but I'll still pay you the full salary because that's what I'm paying for. I'm not sure if you remember saying this.
Yeah. Because I always say it.
Yeah. Okay. So the person said, "Hi, Mr. Money. Pardon, may I ask something? Does this mean efficient employees end up with more tasks compared to peers receiving the same wage?"
Usually in a natural progression, yes. But it also means that you will be rewarded more later, either via a form of career progression or either via a form of, say, better pay. That's if you take more tasks. However, we also have to acknowledge that there are certain staff who will they can finish one day's work in 2 hours and they tell us upfront that, look, I don't plan to get promoted. I'm happy where I am. Now, if you are that kind of staff, chances are by your year-end review also, you're not going to receive much pay increase because the reward you got is in the form of more free time, right? Now, this is where the complication will start because most of our staff will not want less pay raise.
That's true.
So what they will generally do is they will be very relaxed, but near review time, they start bucking up. And then near the review time, they tell you they do more than necessary. Yeah. So then if you do not have a very clear written down monthly tracking, then the person can klentong their way through and say that they did more than they are able to. But on the other hand, when you track, then there's also the question about, are you micromanaging me? Right? Are you being calculative with me? So I would say that there's good and bad. But I think that if you're asking it from a perspective where you think you are very effective staff, I think you should have a clear conversation with your boss and tell your boss upfront what's your next 3 to 5 years career progression that you're looking at. Like, for example, here, actually, I encourage people to get babies in our office. I dread that day, but I encourage.
Like children.
Yes, if one day you get married, you want to get kid, I wish that I can give you a very, very good time. Yeah. And then, but what happens is that you should have the negotiation with me to start and say, look, I'm planning to get a kid. This is as much as I can do, which means I can commit to these hours, but I can get all my work done. So in these next few years, I want to be able to spend more time at home. How can we work around that? And I'm more than happy to work around with the person, right? Or this person were to tell me that, look, actually the happiness in my life is not so much about becoming a CEO. It's not about having kids either. I just want to spend more time, say, doing charity or church or play sports or whatnot. I'm okay with that as well. In fact, if you can finish your work, if my negotiation with you is memang you get all this done and this is the amount I agreed to pay you for it, if you can get it done in the most efficient manner, go ahead. Go and live your life. Now, but don't come to me year end and say, you see, I'm so efficient, I want a pay raise. And you're not doing more. Then why should I give you a pay raise? Because it's exactly what I say, right? I pay you for what you do. Yeah. So very often I have to say that this is true on one side, but sometimes as an employee perspective, you also have to understand the other side. Which means if you're going to adhere to this, you're not looking at career progression. If you're looking at career progression, you're going to do more. Right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
But not all employers are like this, because not all bosses are okay with doing the same amount but with less time.
So some employers' perspective is, I buy 8 hours a day from you. I mean, think about it, right? I'm buying 8 hours of your time. If they think about it that way, then what happens is that as long as you're sitting here in my office, you should be doing my work. That's how they see it. But I think that's a very old school way of managing people, and I don't kind of subscribe to it. Yeah. In fact, for my efficient stuff, I always tell them work from home, go back on. Not for the more junior ones, because we know that sometimes they end up don't deliver. Yeah. And yeah. So, but as long as my stuff is mature, I'll tell them go home. And yeah, that's why you notice the more senior ones, you notice that they go back very early.
Yeah.
And I've never said a word about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes I actually ask them to go back, like her like that, I ask her to go back, please go back, please go home, please go home.
Yeah.
Please go home. Don't catch me, please go home. Yeah. I only catch out certain people. That's if I think that even I don't think you're completing my task, then I'm going to catch you.
I see. What do you think about this situation? Like you're very efficient and your peers are receiving the same wage as you, but because your boss realizes that you can do more, they decide to hand you more tasks, but the pay is the same. Because when I was about to start working, I told my best friend, I was like, okay, I'm going to start working, blah, 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 the companies that I'm going into, blah, 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 all that. Then she told me, I have one advice for you. She said, no matter how efficient and fast you are, if you can finish your job before the stipulated time given, then I would highly recommend you to pretend like you are busy and continue pretending until they decide to give you their next task, because they'll realize, hey, you're busy, I don't want to kacau you too much. Because when they realize that you are efficient and you're fast, they'll think, okay, because she can do probably 3 videos in, like, let's say 1 video a day, and that person probably takes 3 days to do 1 video. So because you can do 1 video a day, they'll just give you 5 videos a week, and that person probably gets like 2 videos a week. So you're doing way more than the other person, even though you guys are getting the same pay. So she was like, this is pretty much unfair. And it gets tiring over time. So she said, just pretend. I said, why? Why would you do that? Like, just finish already, tell them, hey, I'm done. Do you have more for me to do? Maybe I can help you. She was like, no, never do that. And then I was like, So I had to find a balance, but I never pretend. Okay, I still do. It's just sometimes I get really tired, and then I'm pretty sure you guys notice sometimes I'll take 5-minute naps and then I'll wake up and then continue doing it. I really cannot.
Yeah, she napped in the office.
The other day, she slept through a fire alarm.
Yeah.
Like as though there's nothing going on.
And then I saw her sleeping there with her headphones, noise cancellation.
I really cannot. I was editing that video and I was like, oh, this video is a bit too heavy for me.
No, because the night before that, I come back at 9 something, I saw you in the office.
I was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like pretending to be busy, right, is even harder than actually doing work.
Yeah, totally agree.
I agree. Because I've tried this before. Not here, elsewhere. Because like I really nothing to do already. Like what more do you want from me? I asked, I still received nothing. And I was like, okay. So I come into office, I sit and I just stare at my screen. And I was like, what can I do?
Act like you're doing something, right? It's so hard.
And the time passes
So
really slow. No matter how slow your walk is to the toilet, right? It's just slow.
Correct. It's damn slow. Like even after lunch, you come back, you're like, okay, you know what? There's only 4-5 hours left. It's fine. I can do it. And then you look at the time, 5 minutes only? Like what? I thought it's 2 hours.
In fact, that was why I quit corporate also. So I cannot tahan ni, act busy. Yeah, so many people acting busy. And you ask them exactly what they do, right? They're all just acting busy and everyone is comparing on how to act busy. And I'm like, this is a waste of my time, man. It's really a waste of my bloody time. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think my advice for this person, just quit. I know it's a very odd thing for me to say. Super odd thing. But generally for me, I consider myself as quite efficient. I do things quite fast to the point where I get bored very easy, and that's why pretending to be busy actually very difficult lah. So then I will go and find work to do. I think Peter also knows. I like to go and find work to do. Things that are not supposed to be my own responsibility. So suddenly it become my responsibility. Then he's just like, why is there so much work on your plate? But actually, because I like to find work, because I hate to pretend to be busy, right? So then also one thing is because I'm always looking for like a career growth kind of thing, regardless of whatever area it is, right? I just want to learn more things. So then I will go and take in more things that I'm supposed to do, and then I'm efficient at my own responsibilities, then I go and do other things. But it really depends like as to what you are looking for. If you're just looking for a paycheck to paycheck kind of thing, you just want to do exactly what you do for your JD, then if you're supposed to do like more things, then I would just suggest you just quit lah. But then if you're looking for career progression, looking to upskill yourself even further and everything, right? Then I would suggest just suck it up. It is always like that, like in the early years one. It's always unfair. The world is never fair. Okay, regardless, like there's just some like, let's just say like an electrician, right? He just take one screw, just tighten the screw and then charge you $500. You still have to pay, right? Yeah. Whereas there's some electrician, okay, you pay him $10 an hour. He might even take like more than like 10 days, 20 days to even figure out what's going on in your house. But then would you pay 500 ringgit to a person who just like tighten your screw a bit and then you just
and
then
this is
solve
like
your
what
problem?
he said. He said, I'm paying for your accumulation of 10 years experience. So in my opinion, this is worth the price because you've accumulated that experience in order to do something that takes that person 10 days, but that other person only probably takes like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. But you need to use this time. Like, yes, you're earning same pay as the other person. You're doing way more than the other person. But it takes time to prove to your boss that you are highly efficient. You're really good at your job. You can probably take in more things or probably even take in more responsibilities, right? And then you negotiate for higher pay the next one. And that's where you get your bullets, right? To actually negotiate it out. Of course, it takes time one. It is never an overnight thing and be like, you cannot just compare like, okay, let's just say Melody can edit 3 videos a week. I can edit 7 videos a week. But then doesn't mean because of that 1 week linear difference, right? Then I can say I deserve to earn more than Melody. No, it doesn't work like that. It takes time. Because, right, yes, this week maybe you can do more, but what if next week that person can do more? So you cannot compare straight away one.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. I think from a boss perspective, I can share with you that acting like you're busy is probably the worst decision that you're going to make. Unless you are in a company where the culture is everyone act busy. Yeah. So if you're not in a culture where everyone act busy and your boss is very hand-on, chances are he's going to call your bluff. And once he calls your bluff, you know what? It doesn't matter whether you're efficient or not. You're a liar. You're not being honest. So when you're not being honest, I can't trust you. Therefore, you're not going to get any form of opportunities. Because the basic of humanity is trust already. Right? So think about it this way, right? You act like you are being busy. That tells me a few things. You're not honest. Number two, there will be someone who suddenly step in, and this is the worst part, huh? Let's say someone step in, and someone very honest, do very hard. And now what you do is that suddenly you can pick up to the same speed. Then I'll realize, why you suddenly so efficient one?
You've been faking it.
You've been faking it, huh? Then you get called bluff without even knowing it. And you're just trying to survive, you're trying to get promoted. Yeah, and will your boss straight away say, no, usually we keep it in our heart and we'll observe. Yeah, we'll observe. Now, then the next thing is also this, right? The best way is actually you just tell very upfront you can finish up your work. When you tell very upfront you can finish up your work, you start taking on more jobs that time. Here's where you need to start negotiating your boss and say, look, this is my ambition. Within next year, I hope I can do this, that, and everything. Now, then you give you something to actually negotiate with your boss. You build a case, right? Now, number two, if you zoom out, right, there are a lot of employees who ask me for pay raise when they can only have a good streak of 2-3 months. What do I mean by that? Let's say between you and you edit 3 video, you edit 7 video, right? This person, after I did 3 weeks of 7 video, you cheer for the person. The person act like the whole year he can edit 7 video and start asking for a whole year pay raise, right? Now, what you don't see is this. Once we zoom out very often, by the end of the year, because you do 7 video a week, by the 3rd month, you're burnt out. For the next few days, you take over the job. It causes a whole havoc of a system. And then after that, there's a few other issues come. And because you are so demotivated and so burnt out, it also causes you to be demotivated and burnt out. And it causes a way bigger problem.
It's a chain reaction.
It becomes a chain reaction. Your 7 video, I tolong, please don't do me 7 video. You just go back to 3 video, please. Because the issue that you cause is way more. And guess what? After another 4 months of you burning out, causing a lot of problems, last 3 months you recover again just before a review and do another 2 more months of streak. And you come and ask me, I'm very efficient, right?
You will probably say, did you forget what happened last time?
Correct. And now when you say this, they will say, why you always talk about past? And guess what? Because the rest are colleagues, you will just like your colleague one, you won't like your boss one.
True.
And you will remember what your colleague did last 2 weeks, not last 3 months. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes. So the truth is, when you zoom out also, when someone who do more or do less, this is what I would say, okay? Don't kill yourself unless you're ready to. Don't go until burnout. But don't act like you cannot do as well. Do it at a pace where you're comfortable, where you know you're not going to burn out, but you're giving your best. So what do I mean by that? Give yourself a good 8 hours work. And right after 8 hours, please stop.
I see.
Yeah. So you give a full good 8 hours work where it is, you're satisfied. And when you go out and drink, when you go out and have fun with your friend, and when you reject a job coming in from your colleagues, you feel proud one. Like, I have all the right in the world to say no because I really have played my part. Your game after that, your pickleball or your cafe session will taste sweeter.
I see, because there's no like lingering in the back of your head that I'm supposed to do more, I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to do that.
Yes.
Like as long as you really give your all in that 8 hours, truthfully, you really just did your job. Like that is the stipulated time given to complete your job, and that's exactly what you did. You gave your all within the 8 hours.
Correct.
You're not obligated to work more than that. But if you choose to do so, that's kind of on your own terms.
On your own term. But I have to say that success is addictive. So what I do often see is that people who can do the 8 hours tend to stretch it because they're on the roll. Then they want to keep completing their job. So if you notice here also, you have this trick. Either they are not very motivated, but once they're motivated, they overstay. And then we need to keep telling them, hey, can you stop working already and just leave? And they don't want to leave. Because you're on that flow of work already, you shocked already. You know you can hit it already. You remember at one point, Patrick was like always staying very bad?
Yeah.
You know, every night I tell him to go home. Yeah. Every night I come, I tell him to go home.
Yeah, he's on that roll already.
He's on the road.
Got momentum.
I got momentum. So actually another key is as a junior, you need to learn to pace yourself. You'll notice they are more smarter in pacing themselves. Yeah, like they have after a while they have a routine. Like Suki, all these, they have a routine. They work very hard, but they know, okay, here I stop. I know I can push as much. You're just more attuned and more aware of when you will burn out, when you will not.
Now my chilling phase a bit.
I see. Yeah, you need to burn out first, only to know When is your
that's
burnout phase?
You can only learn it by experience.
But you know what's the hardest thing about like highly efficient people? If you're highly efficient and then you do not say no to people also. I tell you, that's the worst.
That sounds like a people pleaser.
Sound like me and Suki.
Why? Learn how to
It's
say
very
no.
hard to say no. Because it's like, can you just like give me a bit of time so that I can like, so that you can help me in my job and stuff like that? Then I'll be like, can.
No.
Suki also can. What also can? The other day, right, she was like juggling with so many things. She wanted to go toilet only. Then after that, someone came inside the studio and then be like, Suki, can we try something? And then she was just like, can. And then I just look at her like, didn't you want to go toilet like 10 minutes ago? And then she's like, yeah, put it on hold first, wait first. Then she go and attend the other person. I think either you or Eileen was like sitting with us also. Then I was like,
Because she always
yeah, so yeah, it's very hard to say no. How can we say no?
Suki actually did it yesterday.
She
She
said
came
no
over
to
to my
you?
table and she was like, I'm so sorry, but can I, which is also the reason why we don't have Suki today. She said, can I not be in the shoot tomorrow? Because I know I don't have the mental capacity to answer the questions. And I was like, okay, sure, no problem. So I would say that's a good step. Try saying no to your friends first because they are more likely to be receptive to you saying no than strangers. They'll probably not react as well if they don't know you well enough. Yeah, but because we know you well enough, it's easier for us to accept, in my opinion. So you try saying to your friends first, then slowly you say to like people like acquaintances or people that you're not as close to.
Now you know why I always say no, right?
Yeah.
Everything also no.
Yeah, at first we were like, why he always say no? It's his job to film. And then we realized actually, yeah, he needs to rest also. He's not a robot.
So now I have Diana to help me say no. Yeah. And now that I don't play my time. I just told Diana this. I say, you decide for me whether it's a yes or no. Then only in the evening we tally. So as she's tallying for me, then in the afternoon, some of the people will be like, I just spoke to Diana. She haven't given me an answer yet. So is it a yes or no? Then I don't want to answer. I said, I don't know. Ask her. Yeah.
Or we asked Jocelyn.
Because if not, if you always say yes to everything, right? I think at your level as a junior, it's still okay one. But the higher up you go, you really can't afford to just keep saying yes.
Yeah.
Have you tried to say no?
Not yet since the last time we talked about it. Yeah. I try my best. Yeah. I'll update in next time episode if I actually said no before.
Yeah, you can start with us first maybe. Like when we ask, Eileen, do you have 5 minutes? No. Okay, bye. I'll
But I
come
want
back
to know
later.
why you call me. So I want to
I was like,
update.
no, I just want to ask you
5 minutes
something
only,
on this. No, but the 5 minute accumulates. So like for example, if I go ask for 5 minutes, okay, my 5 minutes is up. Then suddenly Eileen come. And then 5 minutes is up. Then Joey come. And then Liz come. That's 20 minutes already. So and then you're like, 20 minutes gone of my lunch break. It's okay. I got 40 minutes.
Okay,
left.
one no. Okay, I try my best. Yeah. We'll update in the next time. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then I move on to my next question. So my next question is actually very short. This is, how should working adults effectively discover and explore their hobbies or niche expertise? I also don't know how actually. So let's ask the adults.
Am
You're
I
not
an adult?
adult?
I was saying, okay, so there's this thing called baby adults. Because adulting really only starts when you're like 20, 21. So technically, I'm like a 2-year-old adult. You are 16-year-old adult. Or are you more? I don't know. Around there.
You're figuring it out.
Yeah. And you're like more than me. Okay, so for me, I read this thing called baby adults. So basically, adulting really starts when you're 20, 21. So if you really do the math, I'm a 2-year-old adult, okay? Because I'm 22. So technically, you have to treat me like I'm a 2-year-old, but in adult form. So I am an adult, but I'm like
Baby
still,
adult.
yeah, I'm still learning how to be an adult. They are like seasoned-ish adult. He's like,
Season-ish.
I'm an adolescent if you consider
Correct,
it that
correct.
way.
Adolescent.
Yeah.
I'm an old adult.
he's a
I'm a young adult.
teenage adult.
So I'm youth adult.
Youth. You're still in your youth. Yeah.
He's not wrong. Yeah, correct.
Youth definition is below 45.
That's true.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's best we consult the more seasoned adults.
Okay. Yeah. How should adults effectively discover? I think in your first few years, depending on where you are at, right? Either you carry certain hobbies when you're younger up to now, Like, for example, some people are just good in sports when they're younger and then they just keep doing sports, right? But some people, they don't really have a hobby to start with.
That's me. I'm some people.
Yeah. So our hobby could be in the form of we love yapping.
That's a hobby.
I mean, let's be honest, you're happy yapping, right?
Yes, that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah. So it's a hobby, right?
Yeah.
So you can't like mix hobby work and then
Correct. I get
your
paid for
hobby
my
is your
hobby.
work. Correct. You see? So that's for me because my hobby is also yapping for a very long time, right? So until today it's still yapping actually. But then after that, later when you have more time, then you will be exploring after work hours to do something. It could be because of therapeutic reasons, right? It's like some people it's because you just need some space, you go and do yoga, and then yoga become the thing. Some people it's because they have a bit more time, they want to build fitness, then they start going to gym, or either they play pickleball or whatsoever, right? So I would say effectiveness, like at the moment you pick up a hobby, you want to master it, and that's very normal. It's like now I'm trying to be very good at golf, right? So I think it's a lot about learning how to manage time. Yeah. And I think it's a good thing from then onwards to learn how to say no, to relating back to the previous one. For example, like work, right? I guess for you, a big part of it, why you, like most of the time you're staying back very late, because a big part of it, you really do enjoy yapping and preparing for your thing and all. Yeah. So that's why you're staying back late. But imagine if let's say tomorrow onwards, that's not your hobby. Or either you found a new hobby, which is say pickleball or whatsoever, you may actually start saying no and say, hey, after work hours, I want to go and play some pickleball just to get good at it, right? So I would say it's just purely time management. There's no shortcut to it.
How can we discover? Like, do you spend more time just like seeking
Try
out?
new things.
What if you got no money? Like, okay, I'm pretty sure the person that asked this is younger, like me, who are still trying to explore what our hobbies are. Because, you know, some of our friends, they'll tell us like what their hobbies are and they've been really, really good at it. Like for me, I wouldn't say I'm good at anything. I'm just like, okay lah. So I don't really have a hobby. So when he said yapping is a hobby, I was shocked because anyone yaps. So I guess that depends.
Really, you yap more than usual. So it's a hobby. Like after this podcast, like the moment we walk out, she's probably just going to yap, continue yapping.
You're right.
Like,
You are
it's
right.
normal.
I'll be
She
updating
comes to my
Suki.
place and yap.
Yeah, I need to have my daily yap. And then when I'm done yapping, only I can do work.
Yeah. So she'll yap for work.
Yes.
Then she'll yap to relax. Then she'll yap to relate. Then after she's tired of all that, she'll yap to release her stress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So either way is in the form of yapping, right?
Why you guys say until like I yap 24/7?
So because I'm also like you, so I can understand.
If she doesn't yap in real life, she will yap in our WhatsApp group.
Oh yeah. I have a bunch of WhatsApp groups. Every single group is yap. The only thing I won't yap is when you send me videos because I don't really know how to react. I'm like, haha, so funny.
Oh, that's why she texts me. She texts me quite a few times. Then in the end of the day, I reply her with a bunch of dark memes. So I just send it to Aaron, everyone. I just randomly blast out to whoever I think that is dumb enough to laugh. Then her answer to it is, haha. No one will reply. No, I understand it.
No, I'll actually laugh at it. But I like, how do I continue a conversation with this? I'm like, what do I say? So I'll just say, ha 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 ha. Because I feel like two ha-has are a bit weird. So I'll put ha 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 ha. Yeah.
So now we know when she put ha 6 times, then she's just awkward laughing.
Yeah.
Right.
If it's haha, it's not funny.
Yeah. Or if she just don't react.
Yeah.
Really not funny.
Yeah, it's, like the crying emoji, like the laughing one, then means it's really not funny.
Okay, now we know. But so far she has not sent me that laughing emoji part, so I think it's still okay. Yeah. I think back to the question.
yeah, sorry.
I think for me is that you know how we always say, right? When you are young, you have a lot of time, but no money.
Yeah.
Then when you're old, not really old lah, okay, I would say like within like 30s, right? You kind of have a bit of money, you kind of have a bit of time, that kind of stuff. And then after that, as you're slightly older already, when you're in the retiree kind of group, right? You actually got a lot of time, you got also money, but you don't have energy already.
Correct.
Yeah, so best is that during this time of your age, I would assume that you're still quite young, like about 20-ish, right? Probably you're in uni, right? So you actually have time. So with that time, right, it's time to discover what you really like, what you don't like. There's a lot of hobbies and activities out there that actually do not require much money unless you go and play golf lah, then maybe different story. Or probably you go and do some like very expensive activity, then probably not. But it's good to always just try everything once. I think I said this to a lot of people. I will always try everything once.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. It's like you only live once, right? So just try everything once, regardless whether is it like expensive. Let's just say if I want to try go-karting. Go-karting, right? Like 10 minutes, right? It's so expensive, you know.
For 10 minutes.
Yeah. For 10 minutes of the ride only.
I can pump petrol. Yeah. You can drive your car.
Yeah, then you can go Kuantan or come back also. I think still okay, right? But I would say it's the experience. If you like the thrill, just go for it. Just try it once. Then if you really, really like it, right? Work your ass off. Get more money so that you can do it every day. Get your own kart, right? Go-kart or something like that. Yeah. And how do you make time for it is you have to make time for it. You have to sacrifice some areas. Let's just say you need to sacrifice maybe your time with your friends or maybe family, right? But don't neglect your family. Maybe you carve out, maybe you go and see your family every week once, but then maybe that one particular week you just take off for maybe a few hours, go and do whatever you love, then go back and see your family, that kind. Yeah. So it's more of prioritizing what's important for you, especially during your burnout phase or anything, right? I think it's quite important to really do the things that you love first, then only go and do your other obligations kind of thing. Yeah, for me is that I like to sleep very early. So after work already, right?
She sleeps at 10.
She used to leave the office at 5 o'clock. She sleep at 7, 8 o'clock.
No, 9.
No.
9.
9 is still early.
Sleep by 9, yeah. But because I eat dinner early and all, but now it's slightly later already. I sleep at 10-ish. See, it's slightly later already. I have a bit more time to myself, right? But then again, I leave the office later already. But it's okay. That does not matter. What matters is that every night, I will still carve out a little bit of time, if I got the energy, to actually play online games.
Whoa.
So that is something that I really, really love
gamer?
to do. Yes, I'm a gamer.
Yes.
Since high school time. So high school time, right? That is something that I really spend time on my craft. Not really craft lah, okay. I try not to be a feeder. But these days, I'm becoming a feeder already because I don't have that much time to play anymore. But it's okay.
What's a feeder?
People who chose the game.
Oh.
Basically, people would not really like me to be on their team because why? I will tend to give more points and money to the other team to the point where they become so strong that they'll just defeat us. And then I will end the night with a defeat. And I cannot live with that, right? So I will keep playing until I win a match. Because why? I cannot sleep a loser. So sometimes, right, you see me come in office a bit tired, right? It's because last night I really can't win the match already.
Oh, I'm opposite. Okay, I don't really game, but every time I game, I'll be like, it's okay, I am a loser.
No, you must always sleep a winner. This is to all gamers out there. I think you can relate to me, right? We must always sleep a winner. If you cannot win,
I think win depends on how you see win. For me, it's because I used to play Call of Duty for fun. Mobile. I don't know how to use keyboard. So to me, 1 kill is a huge win. It doesn't matter how many times I died, but 1 kill is a huge win. So even if I landed on defeat, I was like, wow, I won so much tonight.
if that's your win, that is okay, right? But for me, it's if it's a team game, then you have to win as a team. Yeah. If not,
I'm
no
very
sleep.
used to losing, so I'm also okay. From golfing to sports, everything, I'm literally losing almost every single thing.
So real.
No, that day you won, and that day you were so happy.
And one day,
And then you belanja me minum.
oh yeah.
Wow, she
Today I
was
scored
so
the
happy.
best golf in my life. Not in my life. Okay, I shouldn't curse myself, right? Today I scored a very, very good game. 2 days after that, I went and played again. For the next 3 games, I scored the worst game that I played.
Is it because you're trying to score that again?
So I get affected very easily. I'm not mentally very strong when it comes to game. So it's if I some people they, that they can play very well, but once they are stressed, then everything go haywire. I'm one of those.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh, this one I need to learn how to manage your
Not very good with it. Yeah. In fact, if you see like in terms of running a company, I'm quite like okay, but I think probably there's something that the only thing I'm pretty good at. Other than this, I think I'm quite lousy one.
I think you're a good mentor. Very good mentor.
Maybe
Yeah,
that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
I think that's why it's
Maybe
called a
that
hobby,
one.
right?
Yeah.
Because if you're really good at it, like you probably end up getting paid to do that. But if you're not good at it, then you just end up a hobby, lor. Yeah.
Yeah, like my golf game.
And it's okay that it's just a hobby.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's
as long
supposed to
as
make
you're
you happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think
That's why I tell myself every time when I play, you're not a pro golfer. It's okay that it's a bad shot.
It is okay. Yeah, as long as golfing makes you happy.
Okay, I think we diverted quite a lot.
but I think for
Okay, I give a very grim statement to this person first. Okay, I'll be very honest with you. Go and find two kind of hobby, one that need money and one that doesn't need money. Because why? When you're young, you likely do not have the money to afford all sorts of hobby. So just find one hobby that doesn't need money. It can be yapping, it can be running, it can be whatever it is, right? Or either low financial thing. And the chances are that is the kind of hobby that you're going to spend a lot of time on when you are younger, when you do not have that kind of money. Then only later when you have the money, you're going to spend time on hobby that has money. But the truth is, whether you like it or not everyone has the privilege to build their financial at that level where they can go spend money on hobby that they can enjoy that requires money. And you just have to accept the fact.
understand.
Damn grim, right?
Very well said.
I mean,
Actually.
it's
But very
actually
green.
very concise and very actionable also. So I would say that's actually a very, very good advice. Plus also, like what you said, just try everything.
Yeah, try everything.
Yeah, just try once. Then you realize whether you like it or not. So that's what I usually do. I just try. Even though I'm always like, I don't think I'll like it. I don't like to touch grass. I'm not a hiking person.
But try once, right?
Yeah, I tried like so many times and I cannot. Like they were like, stand on top of the hill and you realize, wow, like no, bring me back down. I need my concrete wooden floor. Give me aircon. Yeah, so this is my experience. But I also found things that I like to do. For example, like cooking and crafting. I'm not good at it, but I like to do it. Yeah, I wouldn't say
You
I'm a
like
chef.
cooking.
Yeah. I'm not a chef. I'm not an arts teacher. But it's my hobby, no? Yeah. Okay. Let me move on to the next question. This last one. So I think this one is actually very relevant for the both of you. How to frame my advice to colleagues and bosses so they are more willing to listen to it. Actually, how? Maybe you can start first.
Wow, this one. I'm the kind of person, right, who is a bit more like straightforward. I think I'm very straightforward. Do you feel like I'm very straightforward when it comes to my feedback? I think I just literally just tell you what I feel.
Compared to me, less lah.
Oh, less ah?
Compared to me.
I think, okay, sometimes I got filter a bit just to jaga feelings a bit, right? Because like generally, I feel like I'm a person without much emotions when it comes to work. And then after that, if I really say my true feelings, right, I damn scared that person just cry.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think the natural tendency of the words that you use are already politically correct. Yeah, so when you're direct also, it's still quite politically correct.
Give an example. I think there was one time where we had someone who wasn't very time efficient. And then after that, like, it was very hard to tell her, right? It's like, because of the way you do your things is really, really bad. That's why, of course, it's not efficient, because the way you do it is like step 1, step 2, step 3, that kind of feeling. But actually, you can just step 1 straight to step 5 already. But then, like, I don't want to like disrupt like her flow and everything, because the way she used to work is memang like that. It's like telling a craftsman like, oh no, you're supposed to do this the other way, even though I'm not a craftsman, that kind of thing, right? So I'll just tell her like, maybe, right, what you can do is that you can try step 1 to step 5, and then you can avoid the 2, 3, 4. Reason why is because just explain the reason. If that person is willing to like listen and everything, right, then probably they are more willing to try. So then after they try it, then you ask for feedback, right? Oh, so what do you think of that new thing? Then after that, the person will just say then after that you can reconstruct the entire sentence and then see how acceptive that person actually is after that. So that's the kind of approach that I would usually go for. So it's all more of the softer blow kind. It's more on like, oh, how about you try? It's more of like a suggestion, that kind of thing. But that suggestion is more of like, you take the suggestion now, that kind of feeling. But it's not more of like, it's not like, you want to try or not, that kind of feeling, but it's more, it's just do it, that kind. Yeah.
What if that person did not try out that suggestion from the get-go?
Oh, then the next time I thought the person be like, oh, how's it going, yeah? I would just say like, I thought the other day we talked about these kind of things. How come it's not done yet? Something like that. Yeah, try to say in a more friendly manner. Like, maybe that person be more acceptive. But if the person still die, like still no listen, right? I'll be like, hello, can you like just do it already? yeah. So I'll be a bit more stern. Usually I will give like 1 to 2 times of kindness first. But once my kindness like runs off already, then I'll be a bit more stern already lah. Then maybe the politically correct words, I'll be like, no more already.
True.
Yeah.
Then what about you?
How to frame my advice to colleagues and bosses. I think those two are very different categories. But I generally think that when you want to give people some sort of an advice, there are a couple of things that you want to consider lah. I think number one that you have to remember is that it's always the messenger, not the message. So what do I mean by that? If you already don't like me, even if I tell you this is brown, you will still hate me. Because it is brown, but it's not about brown, it's about you don't like me. So who I am to say it, number one, I need to know my position. So I always tell you all this one thing. My jokes used to be funny and today it's not. Because it's true. Last time I got 5 people, I tell joke, right? The whole company laugh, The day I went to dinner, I tell joke, everyone laugh. But when I'm in my office, if I tell a joke, do you all laugh? No one laughs. Why? Because I'm the boss. And even though it's the same joke. If it's the same joke. Why? Because why are you saying that? Are you threatening me? Are you not threatening me? Are you hinting at something? All these things will come. So context, right? So that's number one. You need to know whether are you in that place to give that advice, right? Now, however, people who are efficient at workplace are able to circumvent that lah. So you need to be able to create that situation. So the best way to create a situation is actually to align interests to start with. Let's say if I want to advise you on doing something, the first thing is I need to know what interests you to start with. So what do you want out of this thing? What do I want out of this thing? And we need to find an alignment in benefit. I mean, to give a very simple example, I know that for you want to run FIO.
Mm-hmm.
I know that for me, the interest is I want to build a brand, right? That is not my face, right? So is it a conflict or is it an alignment? It's likely an alignment now. So then I just need to, whatever I tell you, I need to come from this perspective that we can build FIO together. Right? You see what I mean? Yeah. So from here, maybe the advice may involve something that you do not like. However, if we come to the end goal of it is, now it's about getting what you want, I become irrelevant. Now, however, remember the first part? But if you do not like me, then very hard. So that messenger part still take into account, right? However, now we are reducing that messenger part, right? So then the next thing of actually making it be able to get your advice through, again, depending on your position, but very often I find the easiest way, and if you have time, is actually just to listen.
I don't understand. What do you mean by listen?
Which these days I spend less time doing. Yeah. So last time, right, our team very tight, 5 people. Why? I spend a lot of time just bringing in people one by one. And then I'll just listen. I'll just see, hey, Melody, how's everything going on? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? Hey, why not? Then you tell me. At first it is less one, then suddenly you will like feel your gut down, then you start scolding, then you start going higher and higher. I don't like this, I don't like, no. So maybe for 1 hour, right, this person, then you just kindly sit there, listen. I mean, as the person whine, then as the person say whatever their perspectives are, they're also listening to their own conversation. They will sometimes realize how ridiculous they sound. And that's when you need to be very sensitive and start picking out things already and like go, okay, so just now you mentioned this. What do you think? Right? Now, and the more when you do that, number one, you are signaling to this person that before I want you to listen to me, I'm listening to you already. So normal human being will reciprocate. Where later you will, okay, I've said everything I say. Why not now you tell me what I can do? I never say, you invite me. Okay, but it's a very long process. It takes like 1 hour plus, 2 hours. And it's a luxury of time that along the way you can't afford. So I would say that like these days I have to take a different approach already, which I'm still figuring it out. With my managers who report to me directly, I'm still kind of taking this approach, although with less time. But in your perspective, as a person who's approaching your bosses or a colleague, you can do what I talked about just now to your colleague, but do it selectively because it takes a long time. That's number one. Number two is with your bosses. I think bosses are very straightforward. You can do the same thing, and the truth is, I can tell you, very little people will go to boss and ask boss, how do you really feel about the issue? Yeah. And I can tell you, right, whenever any staff can ask me, how are you, right? Actually, I don't answer. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Yeah. So I think if you really want to get your advice through your boss, the best way is actually sit down with your boss and that's how are you doing? Listen from your boss's point of view. And then after that, I bet you only want to give advice because it affects you lah, most of the time. Not because you're just kepo lah, right? Yeah. Then after listening through everything, understanding where your boss come from, then you give him the solution on how to get what he wants. For example, your boss say, hey, I need to rush out 5 projects and my team is not willing to put in time or they're complaining so much about that project. Then maybe like after you hear from his point of view, why he does that, everything. Now, then it's time that you sit down and say, okay, look, I understand this is what you want. And yeah, in order for you to do this, maybe you can try it this way on us. Then it makes more sense. Maybe we'll be more receptive. I can tell your boss will thank you. You know why? Because you are now not advising him, but you are giving him a solution. So always frame your advice as a solution to other people's problem. Then it becomes workable. But if let's say your advice is to get people to go out of their way to do something that doesn't interest them and doesn't align to their benefit, you're adding problems. So give you an example. Like, just think about this whole FIO thing, right? If today I were to come to you and, just 3-4 weeks ago, if my advice to you was just work longer hours so that you can edit all the videos and do the things. No, right?
No.
No, right? Yeah. No. But if I come to you and I tell you, hey, look, I understand that for you, a lot of editing is taking away too much of your time, but we need to keep your mind fresh so that you can think. Let's try to work out a solution together. I have 2 solutions in my mind. Let's use some freelancer. Number 2, let's get someone to banter with you so that you get in the creative process so that you can create something.
Amazing.
Right? Because it's a solution. It's no more an advice. And it plays right into what you need. Now, again, it still comes down to the number 1 thing first, the messenger.
Correct. Yeah. If that person already doesn't like you, right, there's no point in giving advice.
Yeah, it's still messenger.
Yeah, they don't hear it as advice. They're like, yo, why is this person nagging at me?
Yeah, so you want to ask yourself the first thing first. If you really don't think you're in a position, forget about advice. But if you know that you're in a position to do it, then you frame your advice as a solution.
Correct. Yeah, it's like if you advise your ex, do you think your ex want to listen to you? Like if you had an unhealthy breakup, but then if you advise your good friend and it's probably not the prettiest advice, but you know that good friend is okay with you, then yeah, they're more likely to be receptive to it. So you have to understand, is it your ex or your good friend? But that's different lah. But also because we have quite a lot of questions left, so I believe that we'll actually have to do a part 2 for this entire segment. So part 1 mainly consists of career-related questions, I would say. So stay tuned for part 2 where it will talk more on like credit card, loan, debt, investment, and more like interesting questions. I think this one was interesting as well, but the coming episodes will probably be more finance-related.
Yeah. Let's hope that people also ask some relationship question, right? I'm quite excited to hear like adulting relationship kind of thing. Kapow, right?
I'm very excited too.
Quite cool.
I love to kepo.
Or to spill the tea, you know?
Yes.
Like,
I have no tea to spill, so maybe you guys can spill it. Yeah, then I'll try to like wipe the tea for you. Okay. Okay, so I think that's all the questions for this episode. So I'll reserve the following questions for the next episode. Thank you so much, Peter and Eileen, for being on Figuring It Out. And if you have any more questions that you would like to ask us, And we'll really try our best to answer all the questions in the future episodes. But please, please, please leave them in the Reddit section because I love to go through Reddit every day. So yeah, okay. And don't forget to follow figuringit_out.pod on Instagram and follow Mr. Money at Instagram as well. Thank you so much for listening and see you in the next episode. Bye.
See you next episode. Bye.
We're just